too
But
young
the
for
more
that.
commonly known one from that is back and to the left.
Back
and to the left.
Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where the brightest news about the Union season right now is that we actually got to see the Aurora Borealis this evening. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
And this is the kind of the end game of the season, home stretch, but that has more positive connotation than I think might be merited. Yeah, so since last episode, the Union had two of their three remaining games. One was against down in Orlando. The other one was over in Columbus, and we lost both of those games. The what's that?
Yay!
Yay! I don't even remember what the Orlando score was. Was it 2-0? 2-1?
Yeah.
And then the Columbus game was 3-2.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the Orlando game other than, and I could totally be making this up. I feel like I said, it was either super humid or there was rain. I just feel like everything looked soaking wet down there.
Yeah. The thing I remember most about that game was that Sullivan just continues to look positive. Like he's just a little source of some glimmer of hope and fun in this wind down of the season. He just continues to look dangerous. He continues to make runs, continues to excite his teammates, and he got a goal in this Orlando game, which was really nice.
True. That's true.
And it was his fourth goal of the season, and it came from Gazdag and Aura, just he continues to impress. This has definitely been the season of Sullivan here.
Yeah, that is true.
Sullivan.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get to the other Sullivan in a little bit, but yeah, that is true.
Christy, do you have any recollections of this Orlando game, or have you just fade away?
Good question. No, kind of mostly fade away. As you say, on the Sullivan train.
I mean, I guess one thing about the Orlando game is we got to remember who all was on Orlando. I knew they'd been playing well. They've been a fairly successful season for them. They're fighting for that fourth spot in the East.
Yeah,
I think they have it right now, and if certain things happen, they could drop to fifth or as low as seventh. I think I heard somebody was working numbers. But on the whole, Orlando just looked good. They were playing well, and they got some players there. But in all honesty, nobody world beaters. Like the Union didn't have to lose that game, but playing it away is always hard.
This last trio of games, Orlando, Columbus, and then home at Cincinnati, it was kind of the hope dies last for me. It's like, all right, Orlando, let's get through that one. Let's get a win, right? And then we lose 2-1. I'm like, well, it's almost a tie. And then the Columbus game, there's not much sunlight left in the Unionverse right now. Feels like.
I would say that in particular this Columbus game. I'm sorry, Christy, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead. You're fine.
The Columbus game in particular, I would say, is highlighting the good and the bad, and the frustration and the excitement that can happen when you play young players. We've talked a lot about McGlynn and Sullivan, Quinn Sullivan and Harriel this year, and now they've had really good years. They have had really good seasons. They've all established themselves as solid MLS players at a very young age. So you hope that they're continuing to rise in their performances, and we'll see them even achieve greater success. In this Columbus game, once again, Sullivan was a spark on the attack. But I would say that this was a bad game for Harriel. I mean, I know he got a goal. I'm not denying that. It was a great run into the space and playing it off of a restart, and then Baribo got out of his way, and Harry very cleanly, professionally finished a great shot. But I would say both of Lucho's headers were because Harry missed his defensive assignment.
Mm.
And that's going to happen from time to time. Young players, even in the 20, 21, 22, I honestly don't remember how old Harriel and McGlynn and Sullivan are. They're going to have games where they make some mistakes. And you just hope that they understand that and learn from it. And I would say that this Columbus game was definitely a game where Harriel got burned by arguably the MVP of the league. Let me be absolutely clear. That was Lucho. I mean, that guy is really, really dangerous, really, really good. I mean, even Bedoya couldn't keep up with him on that second goal. But Harriel was in a position to make a defensive play on both of those goals, and he didn't make it. Again, only so upset with him about it, but just want to point it out and acknowledge that it did happen. And congratulate him on the goal. That was a great goal.
Yeah, there was a nice spark, a bright spot in this Columbus game as well. Well, when Columbus won up 3-1 in the 76th minute, I was like, okay, yeah, put a fork in us, we're done. And but 2 minutes later, Jack McGlynn gets that goal and then gets us to within one again.
That was a beautiful goal.
Yeah, and Kai, I think, had an assist with that as well. It's a little bit like Dumb and Dumber. When stuff like that happens, I got the whole so you say there's a chance, I
thought you were going to say, want to hear something really annoying?
Yeah, that might be applicable too.
No, it's a good point. Actually, in these last two games, the three youngsters all scored.
Yeah,
Sullivan in the Orlando game, and Glenn and Harriel in the Columbus game.
It's like they're too young and experienced to know that they should be scared or worried, which is a good thing, right? I mean, fear is the mind killer, and if you can keep that doubt and worry out of your mind, you're gonna.
Well, it also makes me. I'm sorry. It also makes me wonder if opponents were gunning for Baribo, since Baribo has been such a force that they effectively shut him down. But then the young guys were able to get in there, and not that Baribo's not young, but the kids were able to get in there and make something happen while the others were focused on Baribo.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It did feel like teams have Baribo's number, and you just can't let that guy drift around unmarked. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, other than that, the Columbus game, just frustrating watching the season slip away. I mean, I really think that's kind of what happened in the last week. Union were in the driver's seat. They had a shot to get a low seed in the playoffs. They just had a win, and they let both of these games go.
Yep.
That's they did. It's frustrating, but you kind of can see that the team's kind of beat down at this point. Like, they're really rough. It really feels rough out there for them right now.
It feels like these two games, if we could do a retconned scene from a movie, it would be after the second period in Mystery Alaska, where Russell Crowe character stands up and said, "Tired? I'm not tired. Are you guys tired?" And everybody else just goes, "Yeah." That's what it kind of feels like. And I'm not faulting the guys, I mean, man, as an observer, as a fan, I'm getting tired, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely an end of the season vibe. I mean, regardless of the fact that we still have one official game left to play. To this. And that's not negativity. It just was how it felt. I mean, it's really not meant to be.
Resignation, maybe?
I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because it's not angry. I'm sad, but I'm not surprised. I mean, just the way this has been going, I guess. We had a few strong games there where we were looking really good. Probably had to do with a number of factors, including who we were playing. It just, but yeah, there was something a little more final setting in for me now. I mean, I think it might have set in with you before these games, Paul. I don't know. It kind of felt like maybe it did. And we Eric and I were just, hadn't taken our rose-colored glasses off yet.
You were still drinking the
Um,
Kool-Aid.
yeah,
Everything's
so
fine.
yeah, it's fine.
Planes on fire.
But
That one
Yeah.
wing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was fine, but at the same time, yeah.
And then to be clear, I don't
Yeah.
think the Union are crashing and burning here. I think it's more,
No.
hey, we're coming in for a landing, and that's just where we are this season.
It's yeah.
Hopefully we can walk away. Right? Anything we can walk away from is good.
Yeah. I mean, the Union got to have a game on the 19th. I'll admit, I got the tickets for that game. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to make it because it's homecoming for Nate, and I think I might have to drive him around for that since he's still not quite old enough for that. Which is going to be really sad because one of the things about this game, like I was really kind of, regardless of the result, regardless of the where they stand, like if this is Ali Bedoya's last home game as a Union player, I wanted to be there for that. And, optimally, I get his autograph, go down and just, make yourself big and try to get him to sign something. Because it could be, I mean, he has a 1-year contract. He's not getting the starts anymore like he used to. And I assume if they even made him an offer, it would be, further, more on these as a substitute and as a locker room kind of presence. And honestly, he's probably got a lot of other options for himself to pursue if he wanted to do something. So I do think that the Union still have a chance. Cincinnati will likely be resting some of their starters for parts of this game at least, because I think that there's technically a possibility that they could take second, but only very minor possibility. So, the Union need to win this game. In order to make the playoffs, have any shot at the playoffs, the Union need to win the game. And they need either DC or Montreal to lose.
Yes.
We are 3 points. We are 3 points behind Montreal. We are 3 points behind DC. If we win and one of them lose, we will be tied on points, but we will have the edge against both of those teams in the tiebreakers.
Yeah, the goal differential, I believe, is the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, so that's what I was going to talk about next. What is the long shot here now, right? So we have to win against Cincinnati, who's currently in third place. So that's it. They've locked third place.
Pretty much.
If they lose or win the next game, they're in third place at the end of the season. So that won't change. So we absolutely have to win. DC is playing Charlotte. So DC is in eighth place. Charlotte is in sixth. Charlotte is only 2 points behind New York City. So there's motivation for them to win to move up into the fifth place spot in the standings. And then Montreal, who's in ninth place, they're going up against, interesting enough, New York City, who's in fifth place. But they are also motivated. If they win, they could move up into fourth place. So it seems like in the other games, the DC Charlotte game and the Montreal New York City game, both teams, aside from just wanting to win just by the natural state of things, but there is motivation for them for every team to win. So it's hard to, well, who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But it will be an interesting and exciting finish, especially if the Union, if in this Cincinnati game, right? So much stuff going on here. Possibly Bedoya's last game as a Union player, right? If we're winning this game, the place is going to be rocking. If DC or Montreal is losing their game, it's really going to be rocking, right? There's a lot of perturbations here for an exciting day of soccer. But there's also a lot of perturbation where it's just got to be like the air just deflating out of the balloon. Like, all right, well, we're done. You know,
Go
if it's
ahead,
like,
make the noise.
yeah, you know. uh, so, I mean, if anything, I just hope for an exciting last day. I mean, I would love the just getting over the finish line into the playoffs, Man City style finish to the end of the season.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
That numeric litany that you gave just felt like when I sit on one of those tech calls that I'm just hanging on by a thread at work. I'm just like, I know enough to generally know what you're sort of kind of talking about. Maybe.
And then they kick a question over to you about what they
Yeah.
just
And
said.
it's
It's like,
absolute crickets.
what?
What?
Sorry.
Sorry?
That's a very good question. There's
That's
a
a
lot of data that has to be processed and digested, and
Internalized.
let me take that back to the team. That's a good
There's a
one.
person who is speaking from experience right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
I hope your boss isn't listening.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. I think it's probably too much to hope that Ali will be back next year, although I would love it. It was interesting during the Columbus game, the announcers kind of were making a case for basically saying Ali Bedoya showing why he deserves to come back for another year or wants to come back for another year or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I would love if he would, but I don't know. I think we're lucky to have gotten this one, which is, I think for me, probably the biggest shame of it all. It just would have been nice to have just one fairy tale season.
Yeah.
Just one. I mean, we did have the one without that LA ended up winning.
Yeah.
That would have been great. But I mean, if you look back, we are not that team right now. We're just not.
Yeah, I agree.
For whatever reason, whatever combination of elements is or isn't there, it's just that was not, or I should say maybe more accurately, that was just not this season for us.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's kind of one of the biggest letdowns of this season is that chances are looking very, very good that this is just going to be at best, tepid season for Ali Bedoya to end his career on, Yeah. In some respect, if he ended his career, I'm going to take that back. I would say if he ended his career the year we lost to LAFC and MLS Cup, no, that would not have been a consolation. Yeah, I
anything
agree.
but short of winning with him at the helm is a disappointment.
Yeah.
Or at least semi at the helm, since it's been sort of between or among he and Blake and sometimes Glesnes this season. But
I mean, statistically, mathematically, there's still a chance he could lift MLS Cup this season.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Exactly.
Well, to use a more obscure movie quote, theoretical physics proves that elephant can hang from a cliff with its tail tied to a daisy. So,
what movie is that from?
JFK.
Is that from Replacements?
JFK.
Oh, never saw JFK.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But
the more commonly known one from that is Back and to the Left.
That's right.
Back and to the left.
So yeah, a lot of ducks have to line up in just the right way for the Union to kind of make it out of the regular season and keep going in the postseason.
But let's talk about what's happening between now and then with the international games.
We got over a week to go. Right, decision day is the 19th.
But some of the Union players will be getting some games in between now and then.
Oh, real quick, one thing I want to point out before we move away from this. I know it's just the way the numbers are and all that. It's very bizarre. We're currently in 11th place with 37 games played. No, sorry, 33 games played. And we are, hopefully getting into the playoffs. But above us in 10th place
Toronto.
is Toronto, who has already now been eliminated from making it to the playoffs
Yeah.
because they have 34 games and that's just, that's it. Which I totally understand it, but it's just so funny. It feels like, shouldn't we be above the team that's already been eliminated?
You would think, but it's MLS math, so
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like new math.
Oh, actually, the other thing we have to consider here is no disregard because Atlanta also has 37 points, same as us. Now,
Yes, but we're ahead of them on tiebreakers. So if Atlanta and the Union both win and Montreal and DC both lose,
that's a big old
Philly
switcheroonie.
and Atlanta, I believe, jump to the postseason.
Yeah.
So it's something weird like that.
Yeah, because Atlanta's playing Orlando. I just remember a couple of weeks ago we were just saying how, like, it'd be great if the Union would just win this game. We stay in the driver's seat. We make it in the playoffs. We don't have to rely on other games going in a certain way for us to make it through. But well, here we are. So
Not so much.
not so much. But anyway, so yeah, let's talk about what the other Union players are doing between now and
We got some international call-ups. So off the top of my head, I remember Ty Baribo called up to Israel. Gajdag called up to Hungary. Donley Jean-Jacques called up for Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's where my memory runs out. Any others?
Blake will be
On the Jamaican
for CONCACAF Nations League group stage.
Good.
And then I guess this is more of a camp situation, but CJ Only, Andrew Rick, and David Vasquez have been called up for U19s.
Cool.
Nice.
So for that. So I don't know if that's simply training. It sounds like it is.
And the rest of them will give it a chance to get some downtime. So good.
Yeah.
Can we jump into the last little bit of news?
Yeah, the 22 under 22. Yeah,
Well, it's funny that you guys were talking about the young guys.
So
because
Sullivan, sorry,
yeah, well, because the young guys seem to have been our young guys have been making some waves there.
Yeah. Sullivan came in ranked number 8 on the 22 under 22. McGlynn scored very high there at number 3, and newcomer Kevin Sullivan, despite playing 10 minutes and taking one shot, came in at number 18 as a newly aged 15-year-old.
Riding that hype wave.
Yeah, right. I'm looking up the list here. I want to see what players 19 through 22, what they did. I mean, I'm not knocking Kevin at all. I think he's got a good player.
No, we have no problems with Kevin.
But it does feel...
Well, far be it for MLS to turn down an opportunity for...
He's going to be... He's going to be on the list. Like he could be on this list for the next 7 years.
Oh man!
If he were to stay in MLS,
that's
he
depressing.
could be on this list for 7 years.
Well,
wow.
He is gone when he's 18. So
I know.
Yeah.
Still,
that's why I said if he stayed in MLS.
Yeah, I know.
It's like that's longer than some professional soccer players' careers. I just feel like this is incredibly premature.
Yeah.
I mean, we've certainly seen some some flashes. As a 14-year-old, he's playing out there and he doesn't look like he's totally out of place, which is great. But I just don't know. I mean, it'd be like giving Messi the MVP just because he's Messi.
I'm surprised Messi didn't make this list somehow. It's 22 and 22. They would have figured out a way.
Yeah. Truly.
Oh man, that's funny.
The question is, would you be angry if you were number 19, 20, 21, or 22 to be ranked after him?
Yeah, that's what I was looking up to see what these guys
I don't doubt that he's going to earn it. I just
sure.
A little early.
That's the thing.
Let's let him actually earn it.
I mean, I would even give him we gave him the last slot 22. I'm like, all right, cool.
Or an honorable mention or something.
Yeah.
That said, Well, I mean, he has been doing really well with Union 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're supposed to, if this takes that into account, or if it's only supposed to be, MLS um, first teams. But there
No,
is that.
it is 22 in MLS under 22.
Yeah.
What who votes on this? Is it
I think it's the media.
the media votes? No. I mean, in some respect, if this is like a measure of, their media impact or,
Oh, actually,
popularity constant
no,
contest.
players were voted on by an expert panel of MLS coaches, general managers, sporting directors, season pass talent. What do you think that is?
And
MLS
K-pop
season
fans.
pass talents and select media. So it is part in part media, but it's others as well. There you go.
Well, hey, good for him.
Yes, good
Yeah.
for him for sure.
Yeah.
Nice to see Jack in third.
Yeah,
I think
actually,
that's
Definitely.
and
And
how about
Sullivan jumping to 8, which is great.
yeah,
actually,
I would
I'd love to see him even higher, but okay.
exactly. I would argue that those guys got a little shortchanged.
And I know I slagged him a little bit earlier, but Harriel certainly deserves some consideration. Although it does seem to be easier to notice the attackers in some of these sort of, higher honor lists like this. Like the defense just doesn't necessarily get the love.
I wonder if that's not what
Mm,
happened here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this looks like this is McGlynn's last year for this
Is he
this
22
honor.
now?
Yeah. He's getting old.
God.
Old man McGlynn.
Gramps.
Gramps.
Oh.
So Union have the weekend off. We'll have to talk about some of the international games, I guess, next week.
Oh, anything else you guys want to
Well,
talk
so
about?
I guess I mean, what do we have any not predictions, not scores or anything? I guess not exactly, but do we think we'll make the off season? Do you think there's too much calculus and math and geometry? Do you think it's worth it to make the off season just to crash out in the first round?
I don't know. I mean, right. I mean, the default answer is yeah, I want to see him win. And
Sure.
we talked about this last week in the previous podcast too about, as Paul pointed out, the Union have been dealing with so many injuries this season. I mean, I did not realize how much Andre Blake has been out this season.
Mhm.
And he's back. The whole squad is back. And, it does feel like a little bit of the, that paraphrasing that Lombardi quote, I never lost a game. I just ran out of time. And it's like for every game we get to keep playing, that gives us more time for this team to play the way they can. I mean, we've seen games where they're just like unbelievable, right, Paul? I mean, the whole like they're having fun. As
Mhm.
long as they're having fun, they're pretty much unstoppable. So yeah, I'd like to see them win. Every game they win and the joy comes back. Yeah, my hope will grow. So for now, it's like, yeah, we got to win against Cincinnati. We got to pray to the soccer gods that the other games go well enough that we make it through. If we make it through, it is a little bit of a reset mentally. You're in, and you're in. Now just play these playoffs, and who knows?
They're
Over
not
to you,
gonna
Paul.
They're done. I said that a couple weeks back,
Yeah.
and I still feel that way. Yeah, you are correct. There is still a possibility. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So again, if they make it, great. I'll cheer them on. And I'll hope for the best. I definitely agree. I would love to see Ali go out with some sort of silverware in his hands. That would be wonderful. But no, I do honestly feel like
Yeah.
even if they get a result, I don't think it'll be enough to get them through to the playoffs.
I think there's a chance that they might get through, but I don't
Well,
think they'd go farther than a first game.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm at in my head. But there's so much calculus around it now that I'm yet more skeptical that will even happen. But should they, and it's not meant to be negative. I would love to be wrong. Just judging by what I've been seeing, It kind of feels like the pattern. So following the pattern to its logical conclusion, even if they get lucky, and everything goes their way, the combination of luck and skill there, I just don't feel like it's gonna get them farther than one playoff game.
Yeah, I think we've exceeded the limits of the success equation.
Mhm. Don't.
I'm not even saying it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. No.
All right.
All right.
Anything
Yep.
else?
Not for me.
Christy, anything else?
No, I've said my bit.
All right. Well, I guess, that's got to be it for this week. We're kind of in a holding pattern until next weekend, and we'll talk more about that. Well, we'll talk more before that game, and then we'll be talking after that. So, yeah, got that to look forward to.
On the off chance, the extremely off Broadway chance that any Union player should hear this, we are rooting for you.
We
It
are.
sounds
Absolutely.
very
We
much like
are.
we are not.
We
That
are.
is not the case. We are absolutely always rooting for you guys. And also for our non-player listeners, we are rooting for the team. I'm afraid
Yeah.
it sounds like we aren't,
Yeah.
and that we aren't enthusiastic. It has been a long season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a lot of ups and downs. And I think we've just kind of hit a point of, it feels like realism right now. We would all love to be wrong. But not to speak for the guys, but I think that's fairly accurate to say. So yeah, so absolutely rooting. I think maybe, hope does die last, but maybe trying to self-preserve a little bit by not getting our hopes up too high on this, with a dash of realism thrown in there, but absolutely rooting for the team always. So didn't want to end on a total exhale of a note.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and thank you for saying that. I think that's an important sentiment to get across. Yeah. Well, if you would like to join in on the conversation, you can check us out at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Hey, drop us an email with your thoughts at the end of the season, words of encouragement. Greatly appreciate it. You can email us at pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Twitter, we are amorephillyu. Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, we are amorephillyunion. Check out our Spotify playlist, which has pretty epic lineup of songs. It's under amorephillyunion on Spotify, but look for the little music notes in the little picture. Also, we didn't mention it at the beginning of the podcast, so we're going to mention it now. Feel free to head over and support the Philadelphia Union Foundation. You can check them out at their website, philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. Make a donation, see what projects they got going on that you would want to support, help out in any way that you can. It'd be very much appreciated.
Please do.
And continue to get our podcast where you download yours. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. So thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul. Go Union!
Welcome to A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
Okay, as always, be sure to make a donation to the Philadelphia Union Foundation at A More Philly. Anyway, yeah.
I was
tempted to
I
just
thought
keep
we were going
going.
to do it. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll roll with this. That's fine.
I haven't even opened up the doc yet.